Welcome to Heated Conversation. I am your host, Peterson Pierre, and founder of Heat Performance. I am so glad that you guys decided to tune in today. I'm very excited for today's episode as we have a college coach with us today. I'm excited for them to share their journey, share about their university, and be able to give some tips about coaching, about culture, as well as giving some more knowledge about how to contact them, as well as learning more about this university. Tune into this episode. So in Heated Conversations, today we have head coach of the University of Illinois, Nadalie Walsh. She's joining us today to kind of talk about the university, about herself and her program, and something special. Tune in. All right, welcome, Nadalie. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hi, PD. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Nadalie, you and I kind of go way back, right? All the way
I
to like 2015, I think we first probably met. And then 2016, we met again. And kind of my journey, at least into college, started because of you. And so
know.
I'll share with our viewers a little bit. So I got into college because Nadalie was the head coach at Utah State. We were coaching a camp at the University of Wisconsin Stout, where Becky Bolio is the head coach. And we were walking back to our rooms in the hotel, and I seen a book that was in Natalie's hand and asked her about it, and kind of led to a conversation, what led to an opportunity to be able to coach under her leadership and kind of be a part of what she was had going on, which ended up leading to the team being runners up in the MRGC. And if you don't know what that is, that's the Mountain Rim Gymnastics Conference. It was kind of cool. A fraction of a tenth that we ended up being runners up due to a vault, a 10-0 vault. We were deciding if we were going to do the 1.5 or not. I'm sure you can remember that. And we threw that 1.5 and she killed it. And so that kind of allowed us to have that opportunity. And you've been at Illinois since 2017, but started really the 2018 season, correct?
Yeah, definitely. And I do remember meeting you multiple times. You were a good spotter and lots of energy, but the best part was just like you would do those group dances with the campers like a boss.
Oh yeah,
It was
no,
great.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's my energy. I love actually as a kid, I've always been like a show off, so I've always been an entertainer. Um, I
Yep.
really enjoy it. Kind of fun fact, yes. Kind of fun fact is I am a three-time middle school talent show champion. So in sixth, seventh, and eighth, because no, it was seventh, eighth, and ninth grade, because that's what my middle school was. I won the talent show and I danced and entertained. So it's always been a part of me. So I don't think it'll ever leave me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, back to your question. Yes, I've been here since I guess it's 2017, 18. I have a hard time with what year it was, but I know how many years I've been here. So I'm starting my seventh year as the head coach here.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, can you tell us a little bit about where the University of Illinois is? Like, where are you guys located in Illinois? Some people may not know where the University of Illinois is, in comparison even to Chicago as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we are kind of central in Illinois. We are about 2 hours south of Chicago and about 2 hours away from Indy as well. Indy is like, well, if I'm looking at a map, it's this way, but the viewers, it's probably that. What is that? West, east? Yeah, my east and west. I'm a creative mind, not as much of the like, directionally. But
That's all
yeah,
right.
and then we're about 2 hours and 20 minutes from St. Louis as well. So Champaign, Urbana are like sister cities. They're right smack in the middle of all of that. And yeah, not too hard to get to major cities from where we are.
Very cool. Very cool. What are some like things that the University of Illinois is known for, but also the state of Illinois? What is it known for? What are some of the academic um, things that the university is known for? What are some fun facts about the university. What is anything that you can share about the university besides what you do?
Yeah, so the University of Illinois is extremely academic. We're usually in the top 10 or 15 of public institutions academically. We have one of the top veterinarian programs in the nations. We are an incredibly great business school. We have amazing engineering school, from whether it's mechanical engineering or you want to do a different form of it. There's all different sorts and forms. And yeah, Champaign, Urbana is just one of those cities where lots of things have started. And in terms of athletics, I mean, we have 19 sports, and gymnastics is one of them. We have a men's program still, which is phenomenal. It's great to have both of the programs in the gym. And yeah, I'm giving you more information than you needed. And
No,
then
that's
just
good.
Illinois in general is just, I think, I mean, we have a lot of farmland, and yeah, so you can always find corns and cows.
Very nice. Yeah, me originally being from Minnesota, I can understand that. A lot of the farms and stuff like that. I feel like even where I am here in Texas, there's literally corn like 2 blocks from me. So um, now for you, tell us a little bit about you as a person, kind of your gymnastics coaching journey. Like what led you to this point? How did you start? Did you start off as a head coach? Did you start off volunteering? Were you an assistant coach? And has this been the only place? Well, not the only place, since we already mentioned Utah State, but are those the only places you coached at?
No, so I've coached at 4 different institutions as a head coach. So, University of Wisconsin Oshkosh was my first school. I was an assistant there for 2 years, and then went into being the head coach for 4 years. Won our D3 national title there, so that was fun and exciting. And I thought, like, hey, this is where I'm going to be forever. And then doors of opportunity opened, and I went to Utah, or I'm sorry, to Ball State, Indiana, and was the head coach there for 6 years, and just really transformed culture, tried to breathe life into the athletes that were there. And we made a whole bunch of improvements with getting athletes to the NCAA tournament, which had not happened in many, many years. And then after 6 years there, went to Utah State for 4 years, and in 9 months went from being kind of one of the bottom schools of Division 1 to making it to regionals as a team. So that was really awesome. And it was, I mean, it was just coming in and being positive and encouraging and having a plan and being transparent and valuing the athlete. They just really rose to the challenge. Same athletes and way different results. So that was great. And then thought that, I mean, I loved Utah, loved the mountains, loved hiking. There's so much about it that was great, right, PD? Like so many
Right,
great things.
right.
And then the door opened to come back to the Midwest, be closer to family, be in the Big Ten, and try to make a bigger difference. And my journey wasn't, I did a lot of club coaching as well, like when I was a high school student, as well as when I was a college student. I did gymnastics at the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh, and I started coaching when I was young, like real young. I mean, probably too young. I was probably 10, 11, 12 years old, and the high school kids would call in and not show up for the rec classes. And then the people would be like, hey, can you teach these little kids tiny tot gymnastics? And it just really started something for me where I just kind of showed up when everybody else didn't. And I try to make sure I keep doing that, show up in the areas where the athletes didn't have people maybe serve them super well.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's very important to kind of know your journey and knowing that you're a lifer in gymnastics. It's been something you've been breathing for the majority of your life. And so you have a lot of experience, in regards to from the athlete standpoint, being a gymnast and, working so young, understanding what a coach, would need to do, especially in the club. Um, world, because I know sometimes there may not always be that connection from being able to coach club and then go to college. There's different routes that people go, and so being able to be as versatile, having as many different avenues that you did coaching in, I think is very important and brings a lot that you can offer to people. And myself, I wasn't a gymnast. And so it's cool to be able to see that, people can come from different places, but yet have a heart for people and be able to kind of move forward, and life takes you where it's supposed to take you.
Yeah, that's so true. And like for me, my gymnastics background, I wasn't like your typical level 10 athlete either. I mean, I did performing gymnastics. We traveled around the country and we had panel mats and like set them up, and it was groups and dancing and it was performing. And then I also like went right into college and competed there. But I used to be really ashamed that my path didn't look like everybody else's path. And I got to the point where I just kind of realized, I think that my different perspective is something that I should be proud of, not something that I should be ashamed of. And so I used to try not to talk about it. Now I'm okay with it.
No,
Maybe
I
that's
think it's I think that's great. I think it's very, very important. Everybody's story is valuable. And we can learn something about it. And it helps us understand kind of who the person is, right? Because behind any title or position or any of those things, there's always a person, you know, even if it's a robot, there's someone who ended up building that. And so it's important to kind of learn about those people and kind of what inspired them to be who they are today. Let's transition into talking more about your program at the University of Illinois. So, who do you have on staff? Who are your coaches? And kind of where are they from? Kind of a little bit about it. You don't have to go too much detail, but just kind of a little bit about who the makeup of your staff is.
Yeah, definitely. So last year I hired Ross Thompson. He was coaching out in New Jersey as a head coach out at a club out there, and he was a gymnast for the University of Illinois. And the story with Ross is I'll try to keep it short, but like my first week as the head coach, I was handed a camp of 110 campers. And I just remember getting like a message from Ross saying, "Hey, if you need any help coaching, I'm Ross. I'm on the men's team. If you need any help, I'd love to help you." And I was like, well, yeah. And just from the moment I met him, tons of energy, tons of like intentionality, very uplifting, very excited about like each kid's little victory. And I would tell him when he was a student athlete, "I'm gonna come get you one day. One day you're gonna come volunteer for me. You're gonna coach college gymnastics, and it's gonna start with me." And then this past fall, when I called him, I was like, "Hey, bud, it's not a volunteer job. It's a real job. I want you to come. What do you think?" And so that's where that kind of journey came from. And he brings just so many great things to the table because he loves it here. And like, this is his dream school. And I love getting to help him accomplish his dream really quickly. And then Josh Nilsson, I hired this summer, and he was my assistant coach at Utah State, and he's been a head coach for 5 years at Temple University. He did tremendous job there, won 3 conference championships in the 5 years that he was there. And so it was very fitting to make him an associate head coach. So I just welcome him with open arms. And it has been like dropping all 3 of us on treadmills, and we just start sprinting and we're doing the things. And the synergy is great. And I love getting to work with these guys because their integrity is awesome and their technique and technical background is great. And then they understand that I'm a program about the athlete being first. And so they know that, and it's a great partnership.
Love it, love it. And what are your guys' roles? Like, you as the head coach, do you do choreography, floor dance? Are you the bar coach, or do you coach ball? What does Josh do? And then what does Ross do? Like, what are their coaching roles, and what are some of their responsibilities outside of just the everyday coaching, like recruiting, all those types of things?
Yeah, so I have always been the kind of head coach that wants to put my assistants where they want to be. I feel like I can be the one that can go anywhere, and I want to empower people. And part of empowering them is like actually activating them in the thing they're the most passionate about. And so they are both so passionate about bars. So I was like, all right, dudes, you guys can both coach bars, and I trust you to work it out. Like, you'll find a way to make it work where it's easy and seamless between the athletes and the assignments and things like that. And then Josh is heading up more floor, and then Ross is heading up vault. I'm doing beam and choreography, and then helping on floor as well. And I think honestly, I just want our staff to be interchangeable, and that's what's best for the team, because they need to know that we all are on the same page. There's nothing kind of like dividing our staff in any way. We trust each other. We coach the same in the sense that we see the same things and we believe in the same approaches to getting really good results. And then outside of the gym, Josh is like heading up the recruiting, coordinating, and he's doing a great job with Ross, and that we just like really do everything together, which is great. And then we are really fortunate at the University of Illinois to have a director of operations. Her name's Julia Abel, and want to give her a shout out because she does so much of the planning, paperwork, and the stuff that really frees us up to be the best coaches and the best recruiters possible.
No, that's great. That's very great. That's always good to be able to um, give some of the responsibilities to other people that you truly trust, and to really get to the goal, like you said, helping people first, and then putting them in the right places to be able to do that to their best of their abilities. Now, how many athletes do you have currently on your team? How many do you like to carry on your team? And do you recruit from just certain areas? You recruit across the country? And then is there an area like that you would like to recruit even more?
We recruit anywhere across the country, across the globe. We've had international student athletes. I usually have 20 student athletes. We, as a Big Ten, have a travel squad limit of 18 athletes. And so I try not to go much over that because it usually works out where everybody gets an opportunity to travel at some point. But that matters, right? Like you don't want to be part of a team, busting your tail, invest in everything, and then not get to actually have a piece of the like the pie at the end of it. And so having about 20 team roster has been really good for our team and our program.
Very cool. And you mentioned one thing. You said you're in the Big Ten conference. How is it competing in the Big Ten conference, and what kind of schools are part of the Big Ten conference for people who may not know anything about like conferences with gymnastics? They just know, there's just schools, but don't really understand the conferences and how they're built up, especially, football conferences are usually known a little bit more, which these days it may not be because it seems like schools are joining different conferences every day. But
Yeah.
traditionally, what has been, or this past season, what has been the gymnastics conference that make up the Big Ten?
Yeah, so the Big Ten is the biggest gymnastics conference in existence. We are now going to be at 11 institutions that make up the Big Ten. There's 14 schools. Well, now there's going to be 16 schools in the Big Ten, but there's a handful of them that don't actually support the sport of women's gymnastics yet. I'd like to say that because I would hope that they would add as well, but we just added UCLA. So after this season, UCLA will be part of the Big Ten. And the Big Ten, I would say, it's a school where it's about athletics and academics. Like you're going to get an incredible institution that has great degrees and great education, as well as you're going to have incredibly, I would say, highly competitive gymnastics. And the Big Ten is just that, highly competitive. Almost all the teams are always in the postseason, and multiple teams are pushing qualifying to nationals. So I think that we have a great thing going in the Big Ten.
Awesome. And for the University of Illinois, do you guys have like a rival team that like the university traditionally has, especially for gymnastics? And is that rivalry a rivalry that really gets your athletes kind of motivated and kind of get excited about, and also your fans pretty excited about?
Not really. I would say that honestly, what's kind of interesting is there's a little bit more of a rivalry where our school puts together an entire it's a competition between all the sports on our campus with Mizzou. And so we have like a rivalry a little bit more with that kind of thing going on between the SEC and the Big Ten. But ultimately, who are our rivals? All of them. I mean, every team or every athlete on my team wants to do their best against every team in the conference all the time. But I mean, maybe you could say Iowa, maybe you could say Michigan State, Michigan. I don't really feel like there's an actual rivalry the way like for football there is that rivalry between Michigan and Ohio State football usually. So
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. How about your facilities? So in regards to your facilities, what are some like perks of your facilities? What kind of makeup is it? Do you guys have pits you guys have multiple set of bars? Kind of what is that? What is the makeup for a potential prospect athlete who may be thinking, hey, I want to be in the Big Ten conference. I want to look into the University of Illinois, and maybe equipment and a layout of a gym is something that's important to me.
So we have pits, we have loose foam, we have resi, we have multiple beams, multiple bars, two vaults, and then yeah, obviously spring floor, and then tumbling into soft. So we have everything that we need gymnastics wise, and a lot of my career at every institution I've been at, I have worked pretty tirelessly to get new facilities at each program that I've been at, and I've been in the process of doing that with Illinois as well, and so it's just going to be a matter of the right timing. And so, yes, we have what we need. We function great. I think that one thing that I love about our gym is we're up on like a third floor. It's windows all the way around. So you can see outside. You actually are not in like a pole building, that feel where it's just like super dark all the time. So I think that when recruits come in and they see that, they think that that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, talking about your facility, I see that you guys, well, not necessarily the facility, and you can tell me. I'm assuming I don't know for sure because I haven't personally been there yet. Do you guys share your facility with the men's program? And also, what's your relationship in regards to your team and the men's program? Sharing facility or not sharing facility? What is kind of the relationship between you and the men's program there?
Yeah, we do share with them, and we kind of stagger our practices so we're not in there every day the whole time together. Just for, I think, honestly, and each program wants to be selfish. They want to vault and do floor on the same day. Then we want to be able to do that instead of like saying, "Hey, you guys are on vault, we're on floor." So we do that a little bit, but ultimately, having a men's team here is one of the like best parts of Illinois. To be honest, the men's team and the women's team, they are like family. Truly, they do a lot together. They hang out together, live in the same like apartment complexes together. And I think like when recruits come in and they experience the energy and the synergy between the men's and the women's team, I think it really blows them away because in so many ways, a lot of times, some of them have never experienced that because so many men's club programs have disappeared. So I think that the men's program and our program, we work really well together and we get along great. And yeah, I think if anything, it just makes our family double the fun.
Very cool. Very cool. That's good. And I know, like for men's gymnastics, it hasn't necessarily been in the past where it seems like it's growing, like women's gymnastics, where it's added, some in the last few years, at least three new gymnastics programs. Um, what would you say, or how could you advocate for the men's program, being a gymnastics coach and having them in the same facility and kind of having a relationship with them?
I mean, I think we just, in general, as coaches, always need to advocate for the other sports as well as especially the sports that are the same sport for the other side. You know what I mean? And so I think like Daniel Ribeiro and I work really well together. We advocate together to our administration, to the community. We're trying to make sure we're just promoting gymnastics as a whole. And ultimately, men's and women's is really different because women's is definitely on the rise and the men's programs is getting better. They've had some more D3 teams adding, which is great. And I think that, yeah, I think that that's only going to keep helping them.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Well, I want to transition into talking about kind of you as a person, like who are you and who are you as a coach? You don't have to necessarily go into your own personal life, mostly in regards to just coaching. Who are you as a coach, and then what do you expect from your athletes? What are your personal morals? What are some of your personal values? Sorry, that you try to instill in your program, in the culture of your program, and what kind of culture are you looking for in your program when you're coaching, but also from prospect recruits?
Yeah, so for me, with recruits, I'm always looking for character first. I think that that is so important, character and talent and champion-minded type athletes. But ultimately, just like to really zero in on your question, I am a servant leader. I feel 100% that it is so important for coaches to know that we are some of the most influential people in young people's lives. And I like to think of leadership as like if I have a triangle and the triangle is like face, like this. So many people think, yeah, you're the head coach, you're at the top, and everybody's looking to me and everybody is wanting my opinion, they want to please me and yada yada, where really like I just really believe in taking that to your like that point of that triangle, flipping it upside down. I want to position myself at the bottom. I want to be able to know that my staff and my team trust me, that I am bearing the biggest load and carrying them, not out of like self-sufficiency but out of servant leadership. And so that's the way I coach, that's the way I empower my team. We always want to be making sure that everybody knows that their value and their worth are not tied to their scores and they're not tied to their performance. And in doing that, their performances get better. And so I just really think that who I am as a person, I just really try to be me and be very uplifting and encouraging. And then when it's time to have a tough conversation, be honest and truthful and straightforward with like love, and always show dignity and show a lot of respect, and don't demand respect, give it, because at the end of that, when they're experiencing a program that's healthy, where the triangle's upside down and I'm at the bottom, I'm able to connect to them better. They have built trust with me, trust with my staff. And I think the trust is what is like such a key component to being able to build champion people. And ultimately, I'm a mentor and I want to help my athletes having a great experience, but I know at the end of it, they're not going to be professional gymnasts after this. I want to help them be ready to be the next thing that they're going to be, and be able to like let gymnastics be part of who they were and know that it's not who they still are, so that they don't deal as much with like feeling lost and not having identity and being depressed or feeling anxious about life. So that was kind of a long answer for you, but I tried to just like cover it all. That's who I am, servant leader, and um, just really valuing the athlete, wanting them to know that their value is not tied to their performance for me.
No, that's good. I think that's very important. Just to kind of know, what things are important to you, and also to kind of play devil's advocate. What if you have someone who thinks that may just be quote unquote soft, caring about me, like I just want to win, do whatever it needs to be to win. Like, how do you deal with, or if you've had to deal with in your past in coaching with athletes who are like, what, we want to be Big Ten champions. We want to be national champions. And that kind of what drives them is the performance aspect. How do you deal with that? Or have you had to deal with that? And if you were to have to deal with that, what would be your approach to be able to get someone who's really passionate about, performance and the gymnastics aspect, but may not care about if you care about me as a person, like that may not be your business type of thing.
Yeah, I think honestly, well, first of all, I'm highly competitive, and so is Josh, and so is Ross, and we want to win. So I don't think that my approach is soft. I think that it is supportive, and there's a difference there. But in terms to your question about how to approach the person who has kind of that like tough exterior, where they're just there to do the work, they want to win, they want to move forward. Honestly, a lot of people that I've experienced who have that mentality or have that demeanor, it's a wall that they've built up. They actually, on the inside, they need me to help them bring that wall down so they can enjoy the experience while they're trying to win, so that they can have connection with their teammates and they can be the best version of themselves, instead of being just so hardcore that they're only about the winning and only about the performance aspect. So just like a side note of that is I just really, during COVID, I could only coach my team over Zoom for 9 months. And I just created multiple, like essentially workbooks, packets, working on that mental and emotional side of gymnastics, and really teaching them to like dig deep and to like let walls come down. And all that it actually did was create a better team, a better culture, a better environment. And now everybody wants to win. We don't have that like alienated person who is constantly like kind of going, swimming upstream when everybody else is going the other direction. That person is not doing that anymore, because everybody's on the same page, from doing self digging so that we could be more like kind of like a happy garden where everybody can grow together.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's very good. That's important. And also, I think it's important to be able to manage those conflict times, right? Because there's going to be times where there's going to be conflict, and not to kind of put, you know, our business out, but this was something that I seen, firsthand under your leadership. I seen, there was at the time, I think there was eight, athletes who were there, eight returning athletes, and then eight freshmen coming in, and that dynamic. I remember seeing that dynamic where it was the freshmen versus the returners, and then it became the freshmen who ended up having conflicts within themselves, and then seeing the team kind of come together in that blend. How do you deal with conflict when there's anything that arises, even if it was like what happened at Utah State, that 2016-17 season, with those dynamics, and even now in the past 6 seasons at Illinois? How have you, and how do you deal with conflict?
Well, I think like dealing with conflict for me is all about transparency. I think you just need to be transparent about what is happening, and conflict can't be like the pointing you the blame game. Conflict needs to be the self-reflection. And so I deal with a lot of conflict by really encouraging and trying to like set up an avenue for people to learn how to self-reflect. And I do that through workbook sheets. I do that through just like a lot of different written out stuff, giving them assignments where they actually journal things out and work through it. But yeah, I remember that time at Utah State, and it was a time of resistance because it was like a group of freshmen and then a group of seniors or upperclassmen. But really, what that showed was just insecurity, and so I needed to get the insecurity of the upperclassmen to be dissolved, and then the insecurity and feeling threatened of the freshmen to also be dissolved, so that they could just basically merge their vision together. And that was the year that we were like this close to winning the conference title. And it was so worth it. I don't expect young people to have the maturity to deal with this stuff on their own, but I expect myself to have the wisdom to know how to deal with it when it arises.
No, that's good. That's very good. Um, yeah, and for me personally, that's kind of what launched me into this journey, right? Is to be able to help, be able to find a place and have these conversations where we're able to help each other, and just tell each other just our journeys, and tell each other our you know test trials that we took, and kind of the successes, or even the lessons, better said, the lessons that we've learned, to be able to help us be able to move forward. And I'm sure, I have a lot of lessons to keep learning in life and through the sport of coaching gymnastics, but kind of hearing, your story is really motivating, and just getting some of those examples that you have talked about and what you've done to be able to even help me, and hopefully to help other people, other coaches, other athletes, be able to kind of pursue their own journey in a healthy way. And I think that's one of the things that's super important, is being able to do it in a healthy way, get to the highest of levels in a healthy way, and where you don't have to degrade people, or you don't have to beat them down, or just make it about performance. Because like, if I were to grab this pen here and this pen stops working, what I would do is I would probably get rid of it and get frustrated because I'm trying to write something. But this is just a product. It doesn't have a mind to think. It doesn't have emotions. It doesn't have a spirit to be able to tell me what it's feeling or why it's not working. And so for me, I can just discard this, right? And just get rid of it. But with people, we can't do that. We have a product. I need you to be able to perform at your highest level, because that's why you're here, is to be able to do that. But at the same time, is as we go on this journey, hey, let's become the best versions of ourselves, and that will take care of itself.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I know we talked the other day about it, but I am really passionate about teaching other coaches how to create more healthy environments for their athletes and how to help them physically, but mentally and emotionally. And so I'm actually embarking on a free 5-day challenge where it's called the Coaches Breakthrough Challenge, where I am excited to just get on Instagram Live and Facebook Live and just like this, like share some of my stories, share some of the things that I did in order to overcome and to get breakthrough and to be able to help and encourage other coaches and how they also can get breakthrough. And so I'm excited about that. That starts on Sunday and goes until it's like 7:30 p.m. and goes until the 10th, which is a Thursday. And it's only like 45 minutes, so it's not very long. But I'm excited about that because last year I published a book about culture and it's called Enough, and it's the coach's guide to creating a culture that every athlete deserves. Like every athlete deserves us as coaches to create cultures that allow them to be who they are and challenge them and to help grow them up into who they're meant to be. And so I'm big on calling the gold out on people. I'm big on destiny and knowing that like I have the ability to help somebody into their destiny or to kind of steer them out of it. So I totally agree with you. And so, yeah, I mean, putting myself out there to do a 5-day challenge of getting on Instagram and talking to like nobody that I can see is not going to be easy. Like I feel nervous about it and insecure. Am I going to say the right things? And I just kind of get to the point where if I tell other people that what they say matters, then I need to believe that for myself. And I think that's the beginning of changing the coaching environment out there, is to be able to get coaches everywhere to stop replicating what happened to them out of their hurt. Because if you're hurt and you don't deal with that, then you just actually end up replicating it and like spewing it onto the people that you actually love. Like I believe
Right.
most coaches really care about their athletes, but coaches need to like stop for a second and go back and check inside themselves. Like, where do you have unresolved pain and hurt, or where do you need healing so that you can be more whole? Because the more whole you are, the better you're going to be able to serve your athletes. So that was just like a little rant about my thing coming up this week. But from the book to the challenge to the workbooks that I'm publishing, I'm excited just to try to make a difference.
No, I love it. And you said 7:30, and is that Central Standard Time?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And then there's like an opportunity for people to join like a VIP access at the end on the last day, or like at the end to be able to like have actual question time with me and be like interaction with me. So, but yeah, I can give you a link, and I think I did give you the link.
Yeah.
You can look at it
No,
there, PD.
I'll post it on this video. So when I post it to YouTube, I'll post it so people can get it. And also, where can we find your book? Is it on Amazon? Can we find it in stores? Where can we find your book? So I can also
Yeah.
post that too.
Yeah, it's definitely on Amazon. And I'm about to change the cover and make it a color cover instead. I did like all black and white at first. So I'm still modifying and doing new things. And like I said, working on some new products coming out, which I feel really good about. It's just I'm gonna hopefully make a big impact. And I tested out one of my workbooks that I created on a summer camp. Like a lot of coaches and colleges run summer camps, and a couple years ago, I decided to run a mental training and gymnastics training summer camp. And so I actually train them, not just like, yeah, we do some visualization and that, but like we do a lot of like the digging on the inside. And it's been really successful. And the girls that came to the camp, they loved it. And my team really actually was like, hey, we really want to do that book or that challenge, or not the challenge, I'm sorry, the workbook. So I'm excited about some new stuff that I'm going to publish and basically be an open book, because I think that the competitive nature of coaches keeps us in our own lane, but really that's fear driven. And if we would really work together, we could be better for the people we're serving, which is the athlete.
Yeah, no, that's very good. That's very good. Well, I appreciate you talking about that and plugging that in. I'll make sure that our viewers and listeners are able to tune into that and be able to find more resources to be able to grow. You know, as Heat Performance is acronym to help, you know, equipped and giving them resources to transform, right? And I know it says athletes, but it's really anybody. And you know, in this field, most of us were either athletes in some form or fashion, or we're just athletes in the race of life. So to kind of
Yeah.
finish off talking about just the university, how can a prospect athlete or coaches or or anybody be able to get in contact with you? Because I know one of the hard things is to even know how to get this journey started. So if I want to be able to have an athlete get to your university, where do I reach out? Where can I follow you? Where can I send things? And who do I contact to be able to reach out to you? And then also, is there any times where I cannot? Like, is there dead periods? Or is there any of those types of things?
Yeah. So for Illinois, you can always email us, whether it's Ross, Josh, myself, or all of us in one group. You can send us Instagram messages. You can tweet at us. Honestly, any social media platform, sending us videos or filling out our online questionnaire. All of that we take great detail and attention to actually paying attention to. We want to make sure that everybody gets a response, even if it's a response of, hey, like this isn't going to be the place for you because we're already full. We'll be honest and transparent so that the kid can get to where we need them to go. And then in terms of how else to contact us, that's pretty much it. I think so much of the online stuff is the best way to do it. And then we can respond once they are done with their sophomore year. So it has to be like in June after their sophomore year in high school.
Very nice. Now, is there ways to be able to like get your attention? So if I just say, hi, coach of University of Illinois, I want to be part of your team. Will that catch your attention? What are ways to be able to kind of get you? Because I'm sure you have a lot of people who are interested in the program or who are just trying to start their journey. So they're just sending things out. How can I be able to message you to be able to get it to where not necessarily you'll read it, I'm sure you will, but be able to see it and be like, you know what, this catches my attention and makes me want to respond, or so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a huge influx of emails and messages that come in every single day. And we do the best we can to respond to everyone, like I said. But I think honestly, the sending a video with your reaching out is always super helpful because then we're tying the words with the video and the face and all of that right at one time. And I think that just persistence is key. Like you as an athlete or as a recruit, you are your greatest advocate. And so if there's a place where you want to be, if you want to be at Illinois, don't give up. You just need to keep sending, keep replying, and keep reaching out. And in a lot of ways, I think a lot of schools are super overwhelmed and they can't keep up with everything. But it matters to me if somebody really wants to be at my school, my institution. The same way it mattered to me that I hire Ross Thompson, who wanted to be at Illinois because he already bleeds orange and cares so much about the institution. So, yeah, I would just say that you got to reach out in all those ways and then be persistent.
Awesome. Is there any dead periods? Is there any times where you cannot respond? And then when you're recruiting the staff yourself, do you guys, is there times where you guys are on the road? Is there times where you're not on the road? And is that included in those dead period times when you're not on the road? And how does all that work?
Yeah, gymnastics is one of the sports where we can pretty much always respond electronically. We do have dead periods where we cannot meet with anybody on campus or we can't go off campus and recruit. But for the most part, those times are really short in the full calendar year. For the most part, I think, I mean, I could go through all the details. There's some in December, there's some in April. Like there's different area of time where we cannot in person, but for the most part, they can email or do anything electronic anytime, except of course you have to be done with your sophomore year and it have to be in June for us to be able to respond. That June 15th is like such a big day.
Yeah, no, very cool. Well, I appreciate your time. Is there anything you want to leave, with the listeners to the viewers with, to kind of talk about, your program, your university, or anything that you have to share, like anything that's coming up in like for your program? Is there any special like times to tune in? Like, is there the Metroplex Challenge or anything like that? Is there any of those things that you would like to kind of bring up so then fans could potentially tune in and kind of watch you guys and just follow the Fighting Illini journey? And is that your guys's Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Because I
Yeah,
know
we're fighting a
sometimes,
lineup.
love it. I know sometimes there's programs that have a different kind of war cry or chant, for their specific sport rather than just kind of the school. But that's good to know. But yeah, so if there's anything that you'd like to kind of leave the viewers with.
Yeah, we'll be in Las Vegas for that first weekend in January for that Sweet 16 or Super 16 challenge that's out there where it's 16 teams competing. So that's one of the highlights in terms of going somewhere where it's going to be highly public and televised. So that'll be exciting. And then what was the second part of the question? Anything else with the school?
Yeah, so is there anything like you want the listeners to know about your
Oh,
program or anything like that?
yeah, one of the things that I would love everybody to know about Illinois is our team last year, and we're doing it this year again. We dedicate our entire years to mental wellness. And so, all of the publicity that we get, we're constantly doing things to promote mental wellness. At our home meets, we've done things like replacing anxiety with confidence by giving all the kids t-shirts where they get to write on the shirt in like a special box, like, I am brave, I am confident, and just really changing the way they think about themselves. And we do a lot with our psychologists and our counselors where they make videos, and that we do education at our competitions for the fans and the community. And it's just like so much of it is just to be about mental wellness, because to me and to my team, like, mental wellness is the great umbrella and every other issue is underneath that. So if we attack the big thing, push the umbrella higher, we can get more light shining under there. I think that will make a great impact in our community, which is what we want to do. And so, yeah, that's what Illinois is about, and I'm very proud of that.
Love it. Well, thank you, Nadalie Walsh, head
Yeah,
coach of the
thank
University of
you.
Illinois, for joining us
And I
today.
will And I do want to shout out, like, PD, you've just come so far, and I'm so excited that you're doing this. And I just want to encourage and bless you to know that, like, your words matter, your interviews are going to matter, and it's just going to make a huge, like, impact, and it's going to ripple out, and people are going to be touched and going to have more knowledge. And so I just encourage you for having a vision and a dream and going after it. And I am just super proud of you.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you for being a part of that. As I shouted you out in the beginning, I'm super grateful for everybody who's been part of my journey and who's taught me lessons and showed me how to do things in a right way, just like yourself, and just really care about people, and I think that's just been my personality for a while, but just being around the right people. And I haven't always been like this. Like, I've had times where I was a kid. If you had seen me as a kid, you'd been like, that boy needs to sit down and he's always in trouble. But I think that the journey that I went on was what I was supposed to go on. Like, leaving security in Minnesota to go and volunteer, especially when I didn't have any in regards to like the qualifications or certifications to be able to be a college coach. I didn't coach club prior. I didn't coach any high level athletes to a certain point. I didn't have college experience in regards to being a gymnast, a college gymnast, and those things for a long time in my own mind was something that I believe limited me or caused me not to be able to get to certain points or even deserve to, right? But again, I think your gifts make room for you, right? And I think that's what my journey has been about. And I'm excited to share through these conversations with college coaches, with former athletes, current athletes, even with other coaches and stuff like that. Just sharing our journeys and sharing how we can help make the sport of gymnastics, but also sports and people in sports better.
Awesome. No, it's great. I'm glad that you aren't stopping because you think that you're disqualified, because you're not. So very cool. And then make sure I know how I can share this so that people can get to know your podcasts and tune in.
Yeah, so I'll be posting it on Spotify as well as YouTube right now. And then you can follow me on Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on TikTok. You can follow me on Threads. You can follow me on Facebook. I have pages for Heat Performance. Right now, it's in the growing phase since it's pretty early. But I want you guys just to kind of follow along and again, take what you can from it. I'm here to be able to inspire, to be able to share the knowledge, and again, try to help everybody to be able to move forward and get better. And if this helps one athlete or if this helps one person, that's amazing. If it helps the community of gymnastics, that's even better. And if it
Yeah.
inspires someone else to do what I'm doing or what you're doing, that's even greater too. I think we need more people out there who have a vision to help people be their best selves and be able to go for their goals and to be able to do it in a healthy way. Combat what society may say, and be yourself and be your best self.
Yeah. So
So thank
good.
you. So thank you
Thank you.
again for your time. We really appreciate it.
Hey, if you would like to learn more, please follow here on YouTube, on Spotify, as well as on social media accounts on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Threads. You can follow on any of those to get more information, hear more clips about what Heat Performance is doing. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great one.